just be the best solution. So I've been so, pleased with everything that's been happening with the Daily Business Challenge and all the expertise that we have seen in the day 1 through 4. This is day 5, and then we'll be continuing until Thursday this week. Activate your soul power and find bliss. I wanted to give you guys the opportunity just to kind of rest and reflect. What my specialty is to help clients retell the story they tell themselves. So if it's something from your past that continues to just drains your energy, if it's something that you're currently going through that you're finding frustration with, or even if it's something in your future that is kind of you're worried about, or that's bringing you out of the present moment, then those are all the things that I help clients solve. It's so interesting that I would have such trouble getting on this live today, even with my schedule kind of evaporating for me. And how can I find bliss in the middle of this? So maybe that's exactly what I'll use as the example. So again, my name is Danny Green. I'm a certified hypnotherapist. I also officiate weddings and funerals. I've written a program called the Soul Power Experience, and then also One and Done Weight Release. But we're going to be talking about the Soul Power Experience. The very first lesson that I wrote has to do with life, love, power, and wisdom. Light, love, power, and wisdom. The very 12th lesson I wrote in the program has to do with bliss. So I'm kind of getting, the best beginning and the best way to end in this one live today. So in your workbook, if you want to turn to day 5, and I'll be stating the workbook questions for you if you don't have that. So the first point is to imagine light, love, power, and wisdom as flowing from and through your body. So the reason I wrote this content for the very first session of the Soul Power Experience is in my own life. I discovered how important these concepts are, so I wanted to include it. So I'm going to explain each of the concepts, and then we're going to take just a few moments of meditation so you can feel how good it feels to have these things flowing, understanding that they're flowing to you, they can fill you and flow from you. And so light. In the Christian Bible, Jesus said, I'm the light of the world. And then later Jesus said, you are the light of the world. And that is just such a compelling truth that we literally are the light of the world. And when I was first studying this concept, I understood that we have biophotons in our body. We literally have light energy in our body. Maybe not as much light energy as, the fish in the deep ocean, but if you imagine an infrared sensor sensing in the dark, who's where, you can see the light of our body if you imagine that. So it's a true reality. There was a study done that people in meditation could actually raise their biophoton levels just by imagining their own light. So my journey with the light happened on October 31st, 2013. I had stayed home from work that day because I was just needing some truth that would kind of fill me up and buoy me up for the job that I had at the time. And I read a book called The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. And in that, he said, the part you create from is unsullied, uncorrupted. It cannot be touched by anything your parents did or society did. And all of a sudden, in the turmoil that I was in on that day, I realized there was a part of me, within me, that is okay. I finally realized that I've always been okay. I am okay today, and I will always be okay in the future, no matter what. And I've relayed this story before, and people have said, well, could you use like a better word than okay, something a little bit more exciting? But I want to tell you, I felt so good to finally feel okay. And when I realized that nothing that had gone through in my life could change the fact that I've always been okay. I grew up with a bipolar alcoholic single mom who raised 4 children. I moved out to Washington State when I was 13 to live with my dad and stepmom. And blended family has its own issues as well, even though we're very nice people. Thank you very much. Um, and so I'd already gone through kind of a lot of turmoil, and you always try to kind of find your place. I realized that I'd been okay through all of that. And then in the present moment, I was just wondering if God was even with me, and I was a pastor at the time, so that was kind of a really big question. And then knowing that my future was going to be okay too, that I'd get through the situation that I found myself in. Then we went to India for our daughter's wedding, and that was in 2013. So now let's jump ahead to January of 2015. I had just resigned my church job on December 31st, 2014. We went to India for our daughter's wedding. And our son-in-law to be had a little cultural night for us and explained how to greet everyone in India. And so you say namaste. And I didn't even really know what that meant. So obviously I hadn't been to yoga very much. And he said, the divine in me greets the divine in you. And I literally thought that is the nicest thing that anyone has ever said to me, to recognize my own divinity and the divinity of all people. It was just like this explosion of this worldview change that I realized everyone is divine. They just don't know it yet. And that really, really helped me to just find love for myself and love for others. And then when I came home from India, I read a book called The Science of Being Great by Wallace Wattles. And he said, obey your soul. And those 3 concepts came together, and I thought, oh, that's what I found back on October 31st, 2013. I literally found the soul within my body that was always okay. It would be okay and will be okay forever, eternity past and eternity future. And that's why I wrote the Soul Power Experience. So the first concept that came true to me in that, realizing my soul is within my body, is light. We're going to do a meditation in just a few moments, but what the concept that I want to share with you is that if you could imagine your soul within your body, and then imagine that light of your soul, filling the entirety of your body, and then expanding out. And when I did the emotion code training, as an emotion code practitioner, I learned that our energy is measurable to 12 feet around us. And so we can imagine that we're just living in this light bubble of 12 feet, just projecting all of the great energies that we have within us. Also on grumpy days, we might be projecting other energies in our own humanity, but knowing that we can imagine the light of our soul. So we're going to do that in a few minutes. Then the next concept is love. And, when we love others, and we are also refreshed. When we can feel that love within ourselves and extend it to others, it's kind of a flow of love. And that's why I talk about love so much. So we're going to imagine that we're just either a vase or a fountain of love. Then the next concept is power, because we really do have within our own divinity, within our soul, we have an incredible, infinite amount of power that we can draw from, to just realize that we're, doing our best to get through the day, and that we have all the power we need to do what we've been called to do for this lifetime. And then wisdom. I mean, isn't that just the truth, that we really just want wisdom for the next best step? Sometimes we ask for broader wisdom and writing our goals and that type of thing. I love that, and I love how that's been explained in these lives. But also what's even more important than that, I mean, I love that. But in order to get to those goals, we're going to need wisdom for the next best step. And so that's one way that we can stay in the present moment, is just to have wisdom for each day, for the present moment. And so that is the concept of light, love, power, and wisdom, is flowing from and through your body. And so the other thing too is I used to spend a lot of time praying, and that's fine, and I do pray, but it's kind of exhausting because the needs of the world and even our own needs, the needs of our family, the needs of our world. I mean, we could just sit and pray forever, and but what I do now is I actually use these four concepts as my prayer because I fill my body with light, and I send that light out to those who really are in darkness in this present moment that really need light. Um, I fill my body with love as given to me by infinite love or source or God or whatever your best term is. I fill my body with love, and then I just literally imagine my love being sent out to the world. Um, I fill my body with power, and I send that power out, especially to those who are despairing of life. And then the last one is wisdom, just to give me wisdom for the day and give wisdom to those that are suffering and just need something to guide them. Of course, my source for all of this is God, and I believe that all love and goodness is always flowing toward us, and it can fill us and then flow through us to others. So I just invite you to take a few moments. Now, we've been learning a lot about life and business in these lives, but this is a moment for you to be refreshed. So I'd like to ask you just to close your eyes. And oftentimes I close my eyes also to just access my own deep self. And so I might be doing that through this little meditation. So I'd like you to close your eyes and just feel your body as it's sitting in the chair that you're sitting in now, or couch, or car, or wherever you are. Very good. I'd like you to imagine your soul within your body. Some people imagine their soul mostly around their heart. Other people can imagine their soul as the inmost part of their body. Go ahead and imagine your soul. Your soul is your divinity, the soul that is eternally with you, past, present, and future. Very good. Now, as you imagine your soul within your body, I'd like you to imagine that it's filled with light. I often imagine white light, but it could be a different colored light. It could be a multicolored light. Perfect. Just settling down into your body, imagining your soul, and imagining your soul filled with light. Great. Now imagine that light is filling all the cells of our body. So the cells of our body are 99.999% space. And so you can imagine the cells of your body filled with healing light. This is really good for your immune system and just for your own personal healing, to imagine healing light filling your body. Next, I'd like you to imagine that light breaks through the skin of your body to the space around you. Perfect. And then if you could, in your mind's eye, look up to the sky, to the heavens, and imagine the galaxies and our galaxy and the stars and the moon and the sun shining their light down to earth. And even though the light of your body, the energy of your body is measurable to 12 feet beyond you, it's actually just as infinite, because light is an energy, and energy just continues on, right? And so as you imagine the sun, moon, and stars shining on you, imagine your light shining back, and somewhere in the middle you join together. So you never have to imagine yourself as small or insignificant. I'd like you to imagine yourself as infinite, just as infinite as light, energy. And then as soon as you get that concept in your heart and mind and psyche, go ahead and send your light out to those who need it most. And know that your energy is now moving through you to others. And infinite love is just going to send your intention of light out to those who need it most today. Doesn't it feel good just to make such a difference in the world in this time of meditation? Very, very good. And now let's move on to the concept of love. Imagine that you are like a vase or even a water glass, and love is pouring into your body. And it's pouring into overflowing and filling the space around you. Or you can imagine that love is coming from Mother Earth, and you're like a fountain receiving that love from Mother Earth and just letting it flow through you and beyond you. And in doing so, realize that you have so much love for yourself, for your own body and your own life, for your family, for your community. And then you can just say your state, your country, and for the world. Sending out love from your own self out to the world, to those who need it most. Perfect. And energetically, that love is flowing from you to those who need it most. They're going to feel loved and they're going to feel stronger. And who knows how much your intention is being multiplied by infinite love, by Source, by God. Perfect. And next, if you could recognize the power of your own soul. So you have this divine self. In the Indian tradition in India, I learned through a Deepak Chopra book, like How to Find God or How to Know God, that we, in the Indian tradition, they have an Atman soul, and that's your divine soul. That's the part of you that, in my mind, is perfect and sinless and holy, where you and God meet completely and perfectly. Doesn't that feel good to know that? And then there's this Jiva soul. The Jiva soul is the part of you that's evolving with each lifetime. So that's, I would say, is your humanity. You know, we're all doing the best we can from day to day, and we struggle and we make choices that, you know, don't always benefit us or others. But that's just the best we need to do with everything that we've, you know, been dealing with in this lifetime or in prior lifetimes. And so our humanity, our Jiva soul, is evolving toward love. And then our Atman, or our divine soul, is already there and is just always there for us. So you realize how much power there is in just our own divinity and the level of evolution toward love that we are at in our lifetime. I'm not the same person I used to be, and you know, I'll you know, be better off even tomorrow, especially if I could keep my schedule, as didn't happen today, but we'll address that in a minute. Okay, so now you've got this power. And one of the things about power is that I have power in my life to do good, and I want to send that same power, that same divine power, that power that's, you know, changing our humanity to evolve toward love. I want to send that out to those who need to make good choices today. There might be some that are making choices that will hurt themselves or others, and we just want to send good power for good, the good of humanity, the good for this planet. We want to send that goodness out, the power of goodness out from our own lives. Let's take a moment to do that. Great, 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 great. And then wisdom. Did you know that everything that's been like discovered in the world so far is available in the ether for our knowing? And so that's so cool. There's so much wisdom available to us now. That's just infinite, really, but that's still growing. And then not only do we have access to all known wisdom through, you know, infinite love, but we also there's more to be revealed. There's more to be revealed in our own life for our own well-being and for the world. And so just know that you're accessing known wisdom and yet to be revealed wisdom. You know how sometimes truths just drop in your heart and you didn't know them before? That happens to me a lot. And I hope to write a book about it someday. And so we're just praying for that wisdom. We're thanking Source for the wisdom that we do have and asking for additional wisdom for the present moment. We understand that in our own lives and the lives of our family and our community and the world, that we just do need wisdom for the next best step that would benefit ourselves, each others, and the human family and the planet. So we're just sending that wisdom out now to those who need it most. Perfect. So I use this meditation in my own meditation practice. I put all the words in alphabetical order so I could remember them: light, love, power, and wisdom. You might even find some other concepts that you want to fill your body with and send out to the world. So that is just the journaling point for this is imagine the difference that this will make in your life and in the world. Just to sit and be filled with these beautiful concepts, these beautiful energetic realities, and send it out to the world so that we're not only impacting the world, but we're also refreshed. Very good. Now, for the bliss formula, I did a lot of studying about mindset. I've listened to over 150 books on Audible, and everything that kind of was an aha moment for me, I decided to put in my program to help my clients. So the bliss formula came up through just really discerning, like, okay, for the clients that have gone through my program, how do I want to send them off? One of my trainers for Psych K said she just lives a life of bliss. And I thought, well, first of all, good for you. Secondly, that sounds a little impossible and a little, like you're living in La La Land. But then I realized I got curious about it, and I thought, well, how if she can live with bliss in a life of bliss, then I can too, and how can I do that? And so I came up with this journaling formula, and I have used it countless times to help me work through my current issue that I'm dealing with that's life draining. So, I don't talk about positive or negative emotions really anymore. I talk about emotions that are life draining or life giving. Using the Map of Consciousness by David Hawkins. The Map of Consciousness by David Hawkins. Anything 200 and below is life draining. Anything 200 and above, or 199 and below is life draining. 200 and above is life giving, and I just want to live my life filled with life giving emotions. So in writing the bliss formula, I've been able to work through issues that I really felt were life draining. And so our psyche, our subconscious mind, our soul really wants us to know things that are just deeply true and beneficial. And anything that isn't deeply true and beneficial, we can rewrite, we can reprogram our mind to believe differently. So the first very step in the bliss formula is breathe. Just taking a deep breath and just taking time to breathe when you're in the middle of a situation really does begin to reset the body, reset the brain, reset the gut, because our gut informs us, our heart, our brain, our body, we're informed by all of that. And when we take time to breathe, then we take time to relax and consider the situation differently. So the first step for bliss is breathe. And then the next one is to believe. So what we believe really affects our mindset, it affects our actions, and it eventually dictates our behavior. So if we react from a habit or an emotion, then we are literally reacting from something in the past. And what we want to do is we want to act more positively toward a situation. So I'd like you to write down a recent belief that when expressed felt negative or judgmental toward yourself or others. So I was judgmental today about my inability to be on this live at noon. I felt it reflected poorly on me as a professional. It reflected poorly on the other presenters for the Level Up program that we're doing, and it made me feel really frustrated. So that's my current situation. I want you to give you a moment to write down something you're currently working through. Great. Now the next step is life is. So when we argue with reality, like I could argue with the reality that and really, get worked up about the fact that I was late for this live today because my schedule was beyond my control. But when I can just relax into, you know what, it is what it is. What can I do? I can't change it. All I can do is work with it. I'm going to accept what is. I'm not going to, beat myself up over this. I'm just going to accept. So accepting what is essential to living a life of peace. If you're always contending with what is, you're actually struggling with something that at the moment can't be changed because it is what it is, right? I saw a graphic years ago, and one of it was, oh, I can't believe it's raining. It always rains, and just complaining about raining, and then, the other person in the graphic said, "Yep, it's raining." And so just to live a life to accept what is really important. And I know if you feel unsafe, that isn't something you want to live with, but for the most part, we have less emotional striving if we can accept what is. Okay. So when we complain about the weather or traffic or other people, we activate a sense of dissatisfaction in our bodies. So write down an issue that you are struggling to accept. So you've got an issue, and what about that are you struggling to accept? Okay, so now that you know what you're struggling to accept, you realize that there's something that is happening that you would benefit from learning more about, so you can change, how you feel about this situation. So here we go. Breathe. Believe life is simple. So our left brain, the one that keeps our calendar, is kind of bossy. I mean, obviously it tells us what to do each day, but it gets a little bossy. It gets a little chaotic. We think a lot about what if and what will happen, and we, keep in mind everything that we have to do for the day, and our life gets a little chaotic, wouldn't you agree? But our right side of the brain, that's a little bit more intuitive, it's a little bit more sensitive to spiritual realities, it's more creative. It can find something really, really simple about a situation. So let's just take a moment it says, we can perceive life as complicated and chaotic, but we can also close our eyes and ask universal God, source, or infinite love, what is simple and more deeply true about the situation you're facing? So we're going to ask what's deeply true. Of course, in my situation, what's deeply true is I'm doing the best I know how to do, and I've got a kind of a busy life now during the day because of a family commitment, and I can't always make my professional commitments. And of course I do for my clients, but this was a live that, that, will have to be more flexible today than I had imagined. So I'm doing my best. That's my simple reality. So So what's your simple reality about what you're struggling with? Just imagine what's deeply true, even more true than the chaos that you might have in mind, that you're now letting go of because you're discerning what's deeply true, asking your soul or source to reveal it to you now. What's deeply true? What's simple? One time I was helping a friend and they just didn't seem like there was a solution to their problem, because every solution that was discussed just didn't seem to be a way to solve it. And I just said there's always a solution, but sometimes we just have to wait for it. So if you can't think of anything simple today, you can just ask the source to reveal it to you soon. What is simple and deeply true about the situation that you've named? Perfect. The next is the word and, the ampersand. I have that as a tattoo because I remember that it's always important to connect with people. And I actually copied this tattoo from my daughter because she remembered that she's never alone. She's always got people. There's always people that she can turn to. For me, it's the importance of connecting with others. So I like to use the ampersand. So the and in bliss is everything belongs. Even this situation belongs in your story. So changing your perspective will make all the difference. Are you willing to change your perspective? So for me, am I willing to just accept that I was late for the live today, and accept that I did my best, and pray for grace with the other leaders and the people that were looking forward to a 12 o'clock live? Am I willing to accept that? Yes, I am, because it belongs to my story. Perfect. And then the next step is, how can we be satisfied with that simple reality? So we are naturally unsatisfied. So our whole evolution, as a species, really, we had to be kind of unsatisfied with the status quo, or we wouldn't be reaching for, what Henry Ford was unsatisfied with horse and buggy, so he put an engine on it, that type of thing. We're unsatisfied not to reach the moon, so we built a rocket. And, what I'm saying is, like, we're naturally unsatisfied, which is part of our evolution in order to reach for things that we don't have. Perfect. Well, that's fine. But feeling unsatisfied is really, really uncomfortable. It really creates stress. It creates, it probably affects our immune system. It affects our relationships. So the more often that we can be deeply satisfied with what is, the better we are off in many, many ways, physical, emotional, spiritual, as we're waiting for things to kind of evolve in our own lives. Most of our suffering is because we want something that we don't have. Looking for meaning and gratitude will help us be satisfied with what is. Write down what is satisfying about the simple truth you've discerned. So for me, knowing that I've done the best I know to do with the limitations I had today just brings me back to a place of self-love. No matter what other people might think, no matter if people are disappointed or frustrated with my schedule snafu today, I really love myself, and I know I've done my best. I just let that self-love sink into my gut, and I can just let it go, walk away. So how can you be satisfied with what you've discerned as simple and deeply true? Just give you a moment to figure that out. Homework then is just to list as many unsatisfying situations that come to mind and apply the bliss formula. meditate on what is simple and satisfying, and experience love, joy, and peace. So we're talking about the map of consciousness, and by David Hawkins. Look it up. And the top emotions are love, then even higher than that is joy, and then even higher than that is peace energetically. I mean, love, I talk about love all the time, and I do really, 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 really work to live a life of love and to have self-love and to send love wherever I am and talk about love all the time. That's fine, but even higher than that is joy. And, love, it's very easy just to stay in that level of love. It's really, really comfortable and doable. Joy, I find a little elusive, but we can't be in joy all the time. So unless you are, and bless your heart if you are, but we can spike into joy. We can have times of joy, just like I had a time of joy right now when I realized I love myself, even if I was an hour late for my life. That was joyful. And then even higher than that energetically is to live a life of peace. And I really feel like the bliss formula helps people live lives of love, experience deep truth with it, which is joyful, and most of all, just live a life of peace. And then what's even higher than that is like a state of bliss that's so high that you can't even speak. I mean, I've been there a few times, but that's really fun too. So those are some of the levels of energetic emotions that are listed on the map of consciousness. So that is everything that I wanted to share with you today. Any one of you can just book a free call with me at www.danigreen.today. That's dannygreen.today, because we only have today to make decisions for our future. And just book a free call if you want me to help you work through a situation using the bliss formula. I'd be happy to do that. I always have a free half-an-hour call on my website. You can just book that. And if you just want to know more about anything else that I do in hypnotherapy, that'd be perfect to connect with me that way. And once again, I thank you so much for letting me be a part of this level up experience. And to you I say, namaste. The divine in me celebrates the divine in you. Have a good week.